करुणालयं स्वामी भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। कटाक्षकिरणाचान्त मन्मोहाब्धये नमः।
नमन्मोहाब्धये नमः।
अनन्तानन्दकृष्णाय
अनन्तानन्दकृष्णाय
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये।
Where did we leave it off?
I think we start verse 2, Swamiji.
Verse 2 and page 23.
Page 23, fine. Verse 2 is the beginning of this manana exercise. We have the Mahavakya, which says the Pratyagatma, as we recognize it, not the Hankara, is the same as that Brahman, which is in the form of Sat Chit Ananda. The Swarupa of Brahman is Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa, Nitya Swarupa, Sarvagata Swarupa. All of these are the Swarupa of Brahman. From the second verse onwards, the author, Lakshmidhara Kavi, tries to analyze and show that the same applies also to the Pratyagatma. If Brahman is Satchit Ananda Swarupa, so is the Jiva represented by Pratyagatma. It looks as though there is a individual Pratyagatma in each one of us. But this is the famous as though. Because if that Pratyagatma is also Satchit Ananda Swarupa, it is also Anantam. And this verse, there will be a lot of discussion on this whole idea of Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa or Ananta Swarupa, Nitya Swarupa. All of that will be discussed as we go forward. And as I said, this is a Manana Grantha. Therefore, there will be a lot of discussion. There's not so much of word by word meaning and meaning of the verse itself, much more of analysis, ripping it open and showing what this verse is trying to tell us. So there'll be a lot of question answers. We will also get a lot of questions in our mind when we go through this. And in the format that we have, we are free to open up, talk about it, discuss it, till clarity emerges. Yes, Ratnamji.
Swami, just you said Swarupa of Brahman. So I just was, I had gone through this. What is the difference between Lakshana and Swarupa?
We will come to that. We will definitely go through all of that. So, from this, as it is in the first verse itself, we saw a lot of analysis. From here onward, there'll be pretty much detailed analysis. And we can really discuss those points that Swamiji will raise till there is clarity. We will not move forward till everybody feels comfortable with the logic and the arguments behind it. So it's pretty much an open forum. Who will read today?
I'll read
Yes, please.
verse 2. Now here we have a verse, Pratijna Rupa verse, which is complete. Aham asmi sada bhami kadachin naham aham apriyaha brahmaivaha mataha siddhaya sachidananda lakshanam. Siddham. Sorry. Brahmaivaha mataha
Kadachit nahamapriya. If you want to break it. If you don't break it, kadachin nahamapriya. Kadachit, never, at no point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can you explain the meaning of this? Just the word meaning.
na aham dehaha na me dehaha bodha rupaha aham
Are you reading from
avyayaha
somewhere?
padachedam. I'm doing the padachedam.
Oh, okay.
Na aham dehaha, I'm not a body. Na me deha, it's not my body. Bodha rupaha aham, I'm the knowledge personified. Avyayaha, unmanifest. Dehasya, anatma bhavaha. So it's all anatma, body, mind, complex, all that. Hi bodhaha nashaha na vidyate. So
What are you reading,
aham
sir?
deha, I am the body, negated identity.
Sorry, somebody was saying something? Divya?
I'm not able to follow what are they reading?
He will explain now. He's said all this in Sanskritam. Not everybody will follow Ganeshaswarupananda, so he has to explain this.
Na aham deha, I am the body, negated identity.
Simple word meaning, Ganeshaswarupananda, just a simple word meaning of the verse would be useful to begin with.
Okay. I am not the body. The body does not belong to me.
That's the word meaning of this. Don't go into that, just because then people have a little confusion. Just this, aham asmi. What do you read from there? Aham asmi. I am.
I am.
Indisputable fact that I am. Problem is our understanding of the I, which is. So aham asmi.
I am.
Sada.
I exist.
Exist. Yeah. Without reference to time. Sada. Correct. I exist.
I exist.
It's an indisputable fact that everybody can say, I exist. And sada, all the time.
Always.
Not dependent on time at all. And the sada
Bhami.
will also apply to the next word. Sada bhami.
Sada bhami, I always shine. Self-effulgent.
Right.
Kadachit aham na priyaha.
Na apriyaha.
Na apriyaha.
No.
I'm never.
The same this thing, no? Aham, I exist is satyam. I am always revealed. I am sada bhami.
Bhami, we can say self-effulgent.
Awareness.
I always shine.
Yeah, and kadachit, at no point in time am I not
not liked by me. I am
Like by me. So those words we use in for all these same words we use for Brahman,
yes.
Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam or Anandam.
Right.
So he's saying that that is what I am. I here means Pratyagatma. Brahmaiva Hamata Siddham. Because Brahman is also the same. What is the nature of Brahman? What is the Swarupa of Brahman? Satchit Ananda Lakshanam. That Brahman which is indicated by Lakshyate, by the word Satchit Ananda. My Swarupa is also the same. I am Sada Asmi, Sada Bhami, and always Priyaha.
Always lovable.
Therefore, Brahma eva aham mataha. Aham ataha. Therefore,
Therefore,
that Brahman, that Pratyagatma is that Brahman. There's no difference. The Swarupa are the same. As we go forward, this whole thing will split more and more into individual components. Yes, Ratamji.
Here, what do we take for the word meaning of apriyaha? Not loving.
Not
unlikable.
Ananda, no.
Okay.
Ananda is what? Lovable.
Okay.
It's enjoyable. Apriya, Priya ka opposite. Yeah. Now we can read the rest of the thing. I'm asking you to do this because Swamiji will not touch this. You go straight into the analysis.
Swamiji, I think here that apriya is there's double negative, right? So priyaha, apriyaha, na apriyaha is used. So.
Na apriya, correct. That is why kadachit na apriya. At no point am I not Ananda Swarupa. Yeah, let's read the text that Swamiji has raised.
Yeah. Sachidananda Lakshanam Brahmaiva Aham. This is the Vakya.
The Mahavakya.
It's a Mahavakya like Tat Tvam Asi. Sadeva Somya Idam Agra Asir Ekameva Advitiyam. Etc. The non-dual Sad Vastu alone was, and everything has come from that. Therefore, it is Ananta. It is Chetana because Shruti says Tadakshata.
Aikshata. It is what he's quoting from the Upanishads. Tad Aikshata. Everywhere you'll find in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, they talk about that Brahman. Somewhere you'll say entered everything. Somewhere you'll say it having created. These are all action words. And they imply knowledge. They imply awareness, knowledge, chaitanyam. So here also Swamiji quotes this Tad Aikshata from Chandogya Upanishad.
Tad Aikshata. This
is Chetana. This is a sentient. Brahman is sentient. Yeah.
The Satchit Ananda or Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yasmin Brahmani Vijnate Sarvam Vijnatam Bhavati. That is Satyam. The entire Karya is Mithya. Sachidanandam Advayam Brahma Yad Tat Pada Lakshyam Tad Brahma Eva Aham Asmi. This is the Mahavakya Artha. Jagat Karanam Yad Brahma, whose Lakshanam is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is equated with me. Sachidananda Lakshanam Brahma means Sat Chit Ananda. By these words, Etei Padaihi Lakshitam Brahma. Sat Padena, Chit Padena, and then Ananda Padena or Ananta Padena, Lakshitam Brahma. For these words,
the second line, and talks about Brahman. And that Brahman will be equated to Pratyagatma, which has the same Swarupa.
But these words, Padanam Lakshyam is Brahma. So Sachidananda Rupam Lakshanam Yasya, this Sachidananda is the Lakshana of which that Sachidananda Lakshanam Brahma Aham Asmi. In the vision,
I am the same Sachidananda Brahman, by which Brahman is indicated by those Swarupa. Sat Chit Ananda, that is Aham. Yes, Sir Divyansh.
Swamiji, can we say Lakshana means nature?
No. Lakshanam is, Lakshyate is indicated by.
implied meaning.
What these words? See, there is a little difficulty we have in this because Brahman cannot be described in any words. What can you describe by words? Something which has attributes. Brahman is attributeless. So how are you going to describe in words? Unfortunately, we have no other means of describing it. It is not like saying a tall man or a black rose. Those are lakshanam which indicate that particular type of vastu within a group and differentiates from other groups. Now here, Brahman, number one, Brahman has no attributes. So what attribute are you going to describe Brahman by? And you don't have to differentiate. Bheda is not required. Because Brahman is Ekameva Advitiya Brahman. Remember those three types of Bheda we talked about in one of the earlier classes? Swagata Bheda, Swajati Bheda, and
Vijati Bheda.
So none of these are applicable to Brahman. So how do you describe them? So you have to use words and try and understand the words, that they don't reflect the way they reflect anything in our Vyavaharika knowledge. So it is indicated by, if you want.
But like when we say the nature of Brahman is like to exist, to be aware, and to be Ananta.
No, not to be. Nature of Brahman is existence. The easiness is Brahman. The easiness is Brahman, and we borrow the easiness for everything else in this Jagat. That is how we get existence for everything else. A lot of this the discussion will come. I'm sure this will all be discussed in detail.
Swamiji, is it right to say that Vakyartha is the actual word by word meaning, whereas Lakshyartha is the implied meaning?
Vachyartha is the word, which is word by word meaning.
And Lakshyartha is implied meaning.
Communication. What are you trying to communicate? That is Lakshyartha. And since we are talking about an order of reality of Satyam, which is Brahman, which is different from the order of reality that we know here, whatever word we use to describe things in the Vyavaharika world, you cannot apply it directly for Brahman. We will discuss more about this.
Swamiji?
Yes, Anand.
Swamiji, could you please explain the sentence, Swamiji? It says, so Sachidananda Rupam Lakshanam Yasya. This Sachidananda is the Lakshana of which that Sachidananda Lakshanam Brahma Aham Asmi.
See, what does he say in this in the verse? He says, Brahmaiva eva ataha aham. I am that Brahman because what is indicated by these words, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is the same thing as I. Because aham asmi, aham bhami, kadachit na apriyaha. There will be a lot more discussion on this. You're only equating what is that Pratyagatma I, not Ahankara, please note. And that has the same Swarupa as Brahman. So here in that sentence we read out just now, Satchidananda Rupam Lakshanam Yasya. Whose Lakshanam is indicated by Satchidananda, whose Rupam is indicated by Satchidananda, this Satchidananda is the Lakshanam of which, sorry, Yasya, of which, that Satchidananda Lakshanam Brahma, Ahmasmi, I'm also have the same Lakshana. Yeah?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah. Should we continue?
Brahma Sarvasya Karanam and Karya being Mithya. There is only one Vastu.
Oh, no, we have not finished the paragraph, have we? We were still discussing that much earlier. We were somewhere. Start from the sentence that Anand pointed out just now. So, Satchidananda Rupam Lakshanam. Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah. This Satchidananda is the Lakshana of which that Satchidananda Lakshanam Brahma. Aham Asmi. I am.
Very clear definition of I. That is where our primary error is. So he's bringing it out that Pratyagatma is not Ahankara. Pratyagatma is not the body mentions complex. We started the
Aham Asmi.
meaning.
In the vision of this.
Is the nature of I, and that nature is exactly the same as the nature of Brahman. Yeah.
Aham Asmi. In the vision of the Shruti, Brahmaiva Aham and Aham Brahmaiva. That means there is no Veda, no difference at all. Pratyaga Atma is Sarvasya Sakshi. This Pratyaga Atma, Sakshi alone is Brahma. That is said in the Shastra, this Pratyaga Bodha Swarupa Atma, Tat Shastva Tadeva Pravishat iti. Pratyaga Bodha Swarupena, that which Anupravishta exists as the Pratyaga Atma. This Pratyaga Atma is Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Ananta Lakshanam. Satya Jnana Ananda Lakshanam Brahma iti Vakyat Praptam Jnanam. Anantam Brahma Aham Asmi. This is the Jnanam.
This sentence taken from Taittiriya Upanishad, Tat Srishtva Tadevanu Pravishat, literally means having created this Jagat. Now, first, there itself there is an issue. Brahman didn't create Jagat. It is for our benefit. They say, okay, Jagat is there, I have to explain Jagat. And therefore, with presence of Maya, as though Brahman created the Jagat.
It'll be negated later. It'll be negated later, right? They'll say that only Brahman is the Vastu.
And this Jagat having been created, what happened? That Jagat is not inanimate. We have everything is animate. Some things are inanimate where you can't feel the presence of Brahman, but everything is animate. You have to feel presence of something, the Atma. So it is expressed as saying that Anupravishat, that he entered. Brahman entered. Brahman didn't enter. Brahman is the same as the Pratyagatma. There are no different Pratyagatmas in each body. There are only individual Ahankaras. There is no individual Pratyagatma. It is the same Brahman which is seen as Pratyagatma in different Sharira. Because Sharira have the capacity to show us the presence of Brahman, Atma, because of the Sukshma Sharira. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Tat Srishtva, having created this, Tadeva Anupravishat, entered into that. There's no entry, there's no going out, going in, coming in. to understand what the sentence means. This is quoted from the Upanishad. Yeah.
It's also because of Upadhi, no, sir? Swamiji, Upadhi?
Yeah, all that will come later because as of right now, we're only saying, I know only the Jagat, I don't know anything else.
Okay.
So I have to understand the Jagat. To understand the Jagat, Upanishad says that there is only Brahman, everything else is Karya, as though created, and you can feel the presence of Atma, Brahman in all of them, which is the same thing as Brahman, whose Swarupa is Sat Chit Ananda.
Brahma Sarvasya Karanam, and Karya being Mithya, there is only one Vastu. It is Brahman. A second thing is not there. Na Advitiyam. How are you going to make a division here? When it is said that everything is Mithya, what is it that you have a dividing factor? What is it you have that you have as a dividing factor? You do not have a dividing factor. With Mithya, you cannot divide Satyam. You are going to divide the clay into what? Into a pot, into other things. You are not dividing clay. So also, you are not creating any divisions in space by creating walls, etc. At least here the Akasha is an element, and this wall is earth, which is also an element. Both belong to the same order of reality. This Akasha is an element, and the Prithvi also is an element. This element, etc., being made up of earth alone, this cement, etc., being made up of earth alone, this wall is Prithvi, which has the same degree of reality as space. Both space and earth belong to the same order, the five Panchabhutas, part of them. Therefore, one should be able to divide the other. But then, this wall belonging to the same order of reality as space cannot divide space. Now you want to divide Brahman, Satyam, the cause of everything, including space and time, with a Mithya effect. You are trying to divide Brahman with Mithya space, with Mithya time. How? You cannot divide it. Neither do I belong to Brahman, nor does Brahman belong to me. One always wants to belong to somebody because one feels small. In the old buddhi of the child, the child wants to establish a bond with the parents. It wants to
Before
establish.
we go there, the last paragraph you read, would you like to talk a little bit about that? What
Yes.
is Karana Karya and what is Satyam Mithya?
Brahma is Sarvasya Karanam, and Karya being Mithya. There is only one Vastu. So, ultimately, Brahman, there is only one Vastu which is real. Everything else is Mithya.
So how do you define Mithya? How do you say everything else is Mithya?
Anything which is a dependent, which has no independent.
I was saying something.
Yes, Swamiji?
You were saying something.
Just coming to that Mithya only. He's telling the same thing, yeah.
Now go ahead.
Independent existence, yeah.
There is no independent existence for Vastu, for the reality.
Correct. Therefore, any Karya is the same as the Karanam. It doesn't have an independent existence at all. That, by that understanding, that is only Mithya. Yes, Divesh?
So, Swamiji, like when we say Karya does not have independent existence, for Parinami, like thing, there is like Karya exist independently because Karana transformed into Karya, right? So in that case, we can't say,
Correct.
right?
But the Karana we are talking about here is unchanging Karana.
Non-transforming, yes. Clay.
Not Parinami Karana. Yeah.
So there is no dividing factor between space and earth. So you cannot use one to cut the other. So same thing.
You created, let's look at the model. Brahman there, and then created the Jagat, which means all the individual jivas, and entered all of them as Brahman only. It looks like there are many jivas, and therefore many individual atmas. They are not true. This is what he's trying to point out, that all these jivas, all the shariras, although they look different, they are all mithya. How can they divide the indivisible Brahman, Atma into so many different things? They can't do it. Even when you say, for example, from the clay you get many different products. Products are very different, but clay doesn't change. So the product, the karya cannot change the karanam. It cannot divide the karanam. So you cannot have multiple atmas. There's only one. That's what he's trying to prove here. With mithya, you cannot divide satyam. Yeah.
Neither do I belong to Brahman, nor does Brahman belong to me.
You have to read the paragraph, but you've still got plenty of that in that. I'd like you to talk about them.
Okay. So everything else is anatma excepting the vastu.
Yeah. Correct. Anybody want to add something to this paragraph? What is the discussion about, and what is Swamiji trying to say?
Basically, I think they're saying that you cannot compare. I mean, you cannot use one order of reality to bada the other order of reality. So here there are two. Discussion is about two orders of reality. I think, as per me, that there are two orders of reality. So what like we say that Swapna and Jagrat, a Swapna thirst you cannot quench with Jagrat water.
Correct.
So this is what I think is Swamiji is trying to bring out, that you cannot do what you see in one order of reality, you cannot use it for the defining the other order of reality.
No, Ratnaji, this one here is, he says clearly both Akasha and Prithvi belong to the same order of reality.
Yeah, that's what I was telling. Na? Wahi to bola main. That's exactly what I tried to say.
Both are right. Even within the same order of reality, you don't find this differentiation happening. Akasha cannot be divided by anything. That's our experience, right? And even though they belong to the same order of reality, forget about another order of reality creating division in the Karanam. Not possible. Therefore, he will give the Swapna example. There you create a full Jagat, a full Prapancham you create in the Swapna. And therefore, there are many elements in the Swapna. But where does it all come from?
Our own creation.
The knowledge in the waking state. That cannot be divided. It is that knowledge only.
The knowledge picked up during the waking stage.
Divesh?
Yes, I think Ratnamji like covered it. But like when we say that when we have the Panchikaranam, we say that as the gunas increase, the pervasiveness of that thing decreases. So like since the space has only one guna and we say that it is all pervading, so if something is nirguna, that is the basis of all the guna wali thing, all the mithya thing, it will needs to be like more pervasive.
Correct. Absolutely correct. That's what how we describe the whole creation of the Panchabhutas. No? Initially, space is created with sound has that. Space cannot. You say Brahman with space creates Vayu. So Vayu is still a product of, you can say product of Brahman, you can also say product of Akasha. It takes the property of Akasha, but it also has an additional property, Sparsha. Like that, it keeps going down. But what you're trying to do is really work backwards and say 5 properties, 4 properties, 3 properties, 2 properties. Akash has 1 property, Brahman has no properties. It is the subtlest thing that you can imagine because no attributes, no properties.
Swamiji, can I give example for this?
Sure.
For this particular Tadeva Anupravishat, Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. We can give the example Shastra gives is of the spider. Like spider creates the web, and as though the spider entered the web. So this
that example is more appropriate, Ratnamji, for saying that the material from which the web is created.
That is Nimitta Upadana Karanam. That is one example.
Yeah.
I thought even we can give.
Itself does not actually go into the, because it's a slightly different example here. We see all these jivas being alive, whether it's animals or trees or humans or devas or whatever, Gandharvas or whatever. It looks like there are so many different ones. But in all of them, that's why I like this example of a reflected Atma. It looks as though there are many different Atmas. There aren't. There's only one Atma, and because of the Sukshma Sharira being present, there is something that happens that looks like there are many.
Like we have electricity in the wires, but the presence only is seen where the bulb is or the fan is. Things like that.
Yeah, that is an example again of saying you cannot see the Atma, you cannot sense the Atma in a insentient thing, because there is nothing unless you, like you say, you said if you see a bulb lighting, then you say there is electricity. So, what do you do? Oh, switch on, let's see if the light comes on. The light doesn't come on, you say there's no electricity. Same kind of. But these examples, be extremely careful, don't overdo them. Yes, sir.
Swamiji, do we have any example for this, Swamiji? That's Rishtva Tadevan Pravishate.
For what?
Tats Rishtva Tadevan Pravishate. Do we have like any appropriate example for that, Swamiji? This line Tats Rishtva Tadevan.
To demonstrate that Tat Srishtva Tadeva Anupravishat, which I give, I thought I give a spider example, but is there any other example? Is what Anand is asking.
In the dream, like all the people look animate, right?
Yeah, dream.
The closest you can think of is you create an entire prapancham in your dream. Correct?
Yes, Swamiji. I thought of it, but
dream,
and you are yourself are there in the dream. That is the best example. Yeah.
Yes, Swami, but yeah. I thought like there's a limitation to that example because the I in the dream.
Definitely there are limitations to these examples. They only, you look at the Drishtanta only to indicate that yes, it is possible. No, how is it not possible? How is it possible? This example gives you a way of saying it is, you can see it as possible.
Yes, Swami.
Yes, sir. Can we continue?
Swamiji, I have one question.
Yes, Divyansh.
So, like in Advaita, we give lot of dristantas, although like all of them seems contradicting, but we say that okay, so only to showcase this phenomena, we are giving this drishtanta, and for other, we are giving this drishtanta. But so it's not like a single thing showing all the things. We are like
you cannot have, for the simple reason that the example you have to take from the Jagat which we know.
Yes.
And that is one order of reality.
Hmm.
Whereas what we are trying to understand is another order of reality. So any example we do, we say, generally also any example is used to show one common characteristic. Other things may be different. Like I remember I gave you the example of a carom board striker to explain to somebody what a hockey puck is. Now it looks okay. Get a sense of what it is. It's round and it's a little biggish then, but material made of it is made different. The use we put it of it is different. The name is different. All of the characteristics are different. It's only to exemplify one or two possible common characteristics. That's all. Any example will be like that. Within the Jagat, you can give more examples which will be more appropriate. Again, there you cannot give any example, even whether you give within the Jagat or elsewhere, cannot be the same, because the moment you do that, it's not an example, it's the same thing then.
Right. But like if you want to explain it to some normal person, normally in layman person,
Let's say we have to use multiple examples.
yes, but
Multiple
he will
examples,
say
different,
that how can you like combine many examples and each characteristic from one example you are making a theory out
Yeah.
of it. So that's also a valid point, right? How can you
No,
do
no.
that?
But that is where you have to understand the core message of
Advaita.
Advaita, right? So Brahman is the only reality.
Yeah, we can
So what
exemplify
can you
it
compare
fully.
it with?
Yes, yes.
So that's it, right?
Okay.
When there is only one, we don't have any other instrument to compare or object to compare. So what is remaining is only one. So where are we going to, the moment we start comparing, the Dvaita comes into picture.
Right.
See,
Okay.
for example, when you want to show that
I think Swamiji is having a bad connection.
I think the video is the problem.
He's having a bad connection.
What of Mithya?
Jagdishan, I have one Sanskrit question. Brahmaiva
Swapna is
aham.
another one which we often use. We
Swamiji?
use for Karya Karana, or Karana Karya, we use number of examples, but only to identify why is that this thing not working, is it?
Yes,
Actually,
Swamiji, we
I have
lost you for a while. We
Yeah,
lost
now
you
it's
for
okay,
few moments.
Swamiji.
Yeah, okay. I switched off the video on Anand's request. Yeah, can we move on?
Yeah.
Swamiji, just to add a couple of points, Swamiji, to Divyanshu's question, I think like all of us were started, like when we started, we were also within quotes like the normal person or someone who started from scratch. And then now I don't know how much different we are, but we also still are using the same examples. But that inquiry that we had or the vichara that we did is what has led us to the current level of understanding that we have. So we are not going to like go and do a satsang, or we are not going to explain this to anyone walking on the street. So one who has that interest and one who does that inquiry is where we start with. And as Diana was saying, like when we use multiple examples, like it helps towards the understanding with the effort from the individual side also. So that is one.
Yeah, the
And
adhikaratvam is important, no, Anandji. That's what exactly what you're saying is to
yes,
adhikari only we can explain Advaita.
yes, yes. And so
Say, for
also,
example, I don't see, is she there, Shobha? Because she's trying to get into this, there may be one to other people. You have to be patient, because these questions will come to the mind. And they'll get resolved as you do more and more Shravanam and more Mananam, Vichara. Oh, there you are. Oh, you're the fire, are you?
Just listening and trying to make sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Take your time on this. that's why it's good to have these discussions. Like what Anand pointed out just now. Initially, the kind of questions that come to your mind will be different from the kind of questions that will come to your mind later. Because our own levels of grasp and understanding changes. Should we continue?
Swamiji, just one more point, Swamiji. So from this paragraph, Swamiji was saying with Mithya, you cannot divide Satyam. You are going to divide the clay into what? Into a pot or into other things. So that sentence is really interesting, Swamiji. So like we can think of like a lump of clay and which we break into like small pieces to make few pots. But when we ask a question, we can only ask how many pots are there. We cannot ask how many clay is there. Right. So
Correct.
though we make it into pieces, though we take a lump of clay and make it into pieces, the question still cannot be asked as like how many clay is there. Like the clay is always one. The question can be like how many pots are there or other designs or other things that we can make out of that clay. So the Satyam can never be divided into multiple pieces. So only the Mithya, within Mithya we perceive different things, but at the end the reality is only one.
Good point. Clay, lumps of clay can be, I make it in 4 lumps of clay, but clay remains clay. Even in the pot, clay is the same. I mean, these are examples. That's what the point that we were discussing a few minutes ago. You cannot stretch the example to fit your idea. Example only tell you so much. Gold is converted into a number of different ornaments. So you can say, I have 10 necklaces, 4 rings, 3 bangles, and so on. But gold remains the same. Same properties, same name, same everything. Whereas a necklace has a different name. It has a different shape and size. It has different utility. So each one looks like different. Gold remains the same. That's why I asked you to visualize how 2 different people entering the shop which has a lot of golden ornaments. One is a lady who goes there to buy a gold chain. What she sees is chain. Her perspective is chain. How beautifully made. This is Meenakari, this is this kind of thing, this is some other type and so on. The second fellow is a bullion trader. He doesn't care. He doesn't care this is very delicately made filigree work. He only says, can you wait for me? Oh, this is only 8 grams of gold. That's all he is interested in. Because his perspective is that. He sees only gold. Whereas same thing happens in the Jagat. We see so many things. We see people as good people, bad people. We see different species. We see, in our minds, we're separating them. What Shastra is now telling us is that is only a point of view. It is not the truth. The truth is only one, and that is one Atma Satyam. So it's a way you look at it. So you can see I can actually imagine the difference between the 2 people who enter the gold shop, gold ornament shop, how their perspective is.
Is this a way of saying everything is a representation of that one reality?
Yeah, the word normally Shastra uses is a manifestation, not so much a representation. You use normally manifestation because it's the same thing. There is no chain without the gold. There is no ring without the gold. There is no any of those ornaments without the gold. So gold might be called the Atma of all of them.
Can we say it's the only Adhishtanam?
Yeah, it's only Adhishtanam, only basis, only substantive. Yeah, can we go to the next paragraph?
Yeah. Neither do I belong to Brahman, nor does Brahman belong to me.
The moment you say, I don't belong to Brahman, if you say, I belong to Brahman or Brahman belongs to me, you're talking about two things.
So there is only one Brahman. All of us come under that.
So multiple. But that's not the way it is presented here. Neither do you belong to Brahman, nor does Brahman belong to me. Because they're not different.
I think Swamiji explains later.
Brahmasmi, which is what we're trying to present and understand. Aham Brahmasmi, Brahman me asmi. Yeah.
One always wants to belong to somebody because one feels small, alpagnan. It is the old buddhi of the child. The child wants to establish a bond with the parents, especially the mother. It wants to establish a bond so that it can feel secure because it's too small. It is insecure. Creating a bonding with Ishvara, similarly, is necessary to settle one's emotional accounts, including the unconscious. That is a religious life, which is important. But this human experience is not reason enough to conclude that Jiveshwara Bheda is real. In fact, Brahmanaha Pratishtha Aham. Bhagavan says in the Gita, Pratishtha here is only Samyag Jnanena. Pratyag Atmani Eva, you discover Brahmatvam. And therefore, Pratyagatma is Brahmanaha Pratishthaha.
Swamiji, can you explain these Sanskrit words? Samyak Jnanena.
Yeah. We will take up that particular verse from the 14th chapter. I think the last verse, if we remember the 14th chapter. And we'll take it up before we start the next class. We're already running out of time. We'll take up just the whole verse. This is only the first pada of that verse. We will take the whole line and the whole verse. We will look at it in the next class. What we will do is we'll reread this paragraph next class and open it for discussion. As part of that, we will also read. Anybody who is going to read in the next class can also look at this verse, chapter 14, the last verse. 14 is what, 26, 27 verses, I think. It will be the last verse most likely.
Yes, footnote. In footnote, it is given 27.
14, 27. So it must be 27 verses in the 14th chapter. So whoever is going to read next time, do make an effort to look at all these words and whatever makes, and you can definitely talk to each other or talk to me if there's anything that you want to know even before you start reading. We'll definitely take that up as well. But I would like everybody to make an attempt to read and make sense of this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.